Oh, yeah. It is Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton.
Hi.
We are so excited because it's just beginning of a week. It's been off to a nice start.
You were gone all week.
I was gone all last week.
And now you're back.
Yeah, I had a really good, successful business trip, and then also did something on the family side of things that has changed our empty nesting setting for a little bit.
No, we're still empty nesters.
Yeah, but we have one half of the nest back, right?
Well, yes. I mean, she's in and out.
Okay, so Kaylee is still with us, but our friend...
That sounds so weird. Kaylee is still with us.
Yes, our friend Dylan is
He's back east.
He's back east in Philadelphia.
Doing his internship.
Ooh, and we did find some good Philly cheesesteaks, and shout out to Wawa, our absolute favorite place to go. Just chill out and get whatever, because it is fantastic.
Wawa's is amazing, number one. Number two, do you know that, so I went to school in Philadelphia. I went to Penn. UPenn, not Penn State. And yeah, I'm gonna brag there.
Streets of Philadelphia.
Okay, thank you, Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
I went to Pat's and Gino's, I think, once during my 4 years at Penn. And then I think, you know what? Didn't we go before your brother's wedding too?
I think you took me there, and I got to say, I'm not a Cheese Whiz person, and I'm not a Cheese Whiz person on Philly cheesesteaks. So, but I will say that Dylan and I did find quite a great. So he's living in Westchester, Pennsylvania, with a fantastic family, the Lamb family. So shout out to Travis, Megan, TJ, Kate, and also Jackson. So, and shout out to just the whole Westchester, Pennsylvania crew. I mean,
you're saying that because you've got new friends now.
Oh my gosh, I've never had so much fun at so many different parties on a Friday and Saturday night, and just they made us feel really at home. And Dylan's got quite the internship out there in Philly, so thank you, Travis, for that. And it's going to be a really good time for him. I told him I'm a little jealous. I sort of wish I could do the same thing.
Is that
not at
because
55, but
I was going to say, do you want to get away from me for 2 months?
No, I'm just flashing back to where has the time gone, and I would have done that too, I think, and it's just really cool. But we did find a Philly cheesesteak place I think it was a town a little before we got to Westchester called Cleaver, I think it was called. It was fantastic. But then I will say Westchester happens to have a Wawa, actually multiple Wawas, which is awesome. And then across the street is, guess what?
What?
A Dairy Queen. And I almost got a different Blizzard this time.
Why would you do that? Why don't you just go tried and true?
Okay, do you want to know why I almost did something different? They have a new summer special Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That doesn't sound good.
There's no better cereal than Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I don't know.
Seriously,
I kind of like Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yes. I mean, on the health scale, even though Honey Nut Cheerios is probably not that healthy, I mean, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is next level, probably unhealthy.
You think?
I just think it's like loaded with...
What about like Cocoa Puffs or something?
Well, yeah, and then there's all the ones with the dye in them, and it was terrible for you as a kid, I guess. But anyway, I thought of going there away from my typical Oreo cookie Blizzard.
But you didn't.
But I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And then my son and I, because I don't have what my dad has. My dad has...
I love that.
Do you know what he has?
He's got a Dairy Queen glove that he uses. It's just one glove, and he uses it for his left hand that he's holding the frozen cup with.
Yes, it allows him to drive and eat a Dairy Queen Blizzard. It's brilliant. He has one glove in the car at all times because he always gets Dairy Queen Blizzards, and he holds it in his left hand, and I don't know how he's driving. Maybe he uses a finger from the glove or something.
I can drive with my knee.
Yeah, I don't know if he does that. But yeah, so we didn't have a glove. So I was like, Dylan, we got to stay here because there's no way I'm going to wait for this thing till we drive 2 miles back to the Lamb House. I said, we are going to listen to Tim Dillon, and we are going... Oh, wait, did we listen to Tim Dillon?
You guys love listening to Tim Dillon.
Actually, Tim Dillon didn't have a new episode, so we listened to Joe Rogan, and my old client... Harlan Williams was
he on it?
Yes,
Did you know?
he was on it for the second time in the last year.
He's great.
And Harlan was off the charts hilarious. So, like,
how's he doing? Like, is he doing a new comedy? Like, what's he doing? What was he promoting?
He wasn't promoting. I think Joe just loves him. He says he's one of the funniest guys he knows.
True facts.
And Harlan is just a crazy good guest because he just does the wackiest stuff and says the wackiest stuff. So, of course, I was texting Harlan as we were listening to it, and Dylan thought that was sort of interesting. Like, oh, you know Harlan Williams? He's on Joe Rogan. That's cool. But Harlan, shout out. You are one of the great comics out there. I didn't realize that he's in his... he always acted younger than he is, which is great. That's why he's a great comedian. But, he revealed his age on the show. I think he said 64, which I'm
no way.
Oh my gosh. Harlan,
really?
You always are young in my eyes. So anyway, shout out.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I finished that Oreo cookie blizzard. It was amazing, and we got back in time so that we could hit like 3 other Westchester parties. We went to downtown Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is it gives a good match to Manhattan Beach. I got to tell you, like a lot of restaurants, a lot of rooftop situations there with there was a DJ spinning vinyl. Like,
wow, that's old school.
Oh, total old school. I mean,
like playing Michael Jackson, Billie Jean, like playing Poison. Tell me.
Yeah, I think he was mixing like new stuff with old stuff on vinyl. That's so cool. I was pretty, and he had people dancing with heads, those bobblehead fake head things that you hold on to of, it looks ridiculous, but it's of somebody that you're like touting.
like a fat head that
you had
for senior night.
But some reason this DJ, like a lot of people were fans and they were carrying fat heads of the DJ.
I bet you would like that.
I already have a fat head, so it's like it's not as like nice to see your head fat, but I mean Elvis face or whatever. But like, if everybody had like a little cardboard cutout of Chris Fenton, I think that might sort of be interesting.
Okay, that's really funny because that reminds me of something I did one of our first Christmases together. So I'm Jewish. I did not grow up having a Christmas tree. And when Chris and I first started dating, we've actually spent every Christmas together, and my family would come to Chris's house and we would do Christmas because, Jews don't really do Christmas, right? And on one Christmas, instead of ornaments, I made photocopies of your face. And I then made ornaments with the photocopy of your face. And it was literally a Chris Fenton Christmas tree.
Yes.
And you walked in and you were just, I think you were a little bashful, like, oh crap, my face is all over this tree and people are going to see the said tree. But at the same time, I think it brought you so much pride. You're like, oh, this is my tree. Look at this. It's me.
Yes, it was a little overdone, I got to say. It was sort of like, but it was really funny. And people really found it hilarious.
Yeah, people loved it.
I think some people took ornaments, and didn't we go to a party the following year and somebody had like 3 of them on the tree? I was like, how'd you find those? That was pretty cool. I will say, another thing too, that has come to our attention, mainly because we're in 72 countries still. We have not gained another country in a long time. Are we running out of countries? I don't know.
You are asking a geography question that is way past my pay grade.
I don't know what the deal is. We're stuck on the dial at 72. So, like, please, somebody in a country, and I can't even name the ones that we're not in, but if you're somebody out there in a foreign land that has not heard this, please download so we can say we're in 73. But right now we're in 72. But what's interesting is that people are reaching out to us to be guests on the show.
That was the most bizarre email you got this morning.
Well, that one, because she has been asked to be on Oprah or whatever, I was like, what? So... anyway, you know what? We're thinking of having guests. I mean, we were thinking of doing guests that are friends of ours because I think that's really fun. It's like we can collaborate and talk about the empty nesting experience and just sort of make it real and authentic and genuine. But I do think maybe we have, we interview people, we have no idea who they are or
what they're going to say.
Actually, the one that was today that was interesting is that she's a real estate agent
in Atlanta,
which I wonder, I mean, we did get more downloads in Atlanta than usual. I wonder if like my phone is telling people where I am.
Like snap maps?
Because
where,
I
like,
was
the
in
kids-
Atlanta. I was at Trill Studios and amazing sound stages and everything down there. Shout out to Dan Cathy and Frank Patterson for building an incredible facility for shooting movies. Actually, we walked on the Superman set that Zack Snyder's doing. I'm not sure what the protocol was, but we walked right on there and watched a bunch of it. And I guess when, you're with the owner of the studios, you can do that. But
That's cool.
sometimes, I mean, that was really fun. And then we actually went on the Nate Bargatze set too.
Did you?
The big comedian that had that movie Breadwinner come out over the weekend. Anyway, so we might, I don't know. Oh, she's a real estate agent that specializes with empty nesters.
Yeah, so there you go.
Like, I guess that's downsizing, or do empty nesters get mansions now? I don't think they, I don't think we're in that category. I think
No,
we want
I just want a
small.
space for my kids to come back to, but I do quite enjoy the fact that we don't have as large a house because we did downsize.
I wonder if they can make a house that's like a bedroom, bathroom, living room, and a like 2,500 square foot podcasting studio. What do you think about that?
I think that would be a very select market is what I think.
Yes, it is. Okay, so you did some research and work on scheduling something for us today, which I would like to take advantage of.
I don't know necessarily about that, but there is something that I want to talk about. And it's something that I find interesting. And after what we've been together 26 years, married almost 22 years.
It is, it's been quite a time, quite a long time, but it doesn't feel long because it's been awesome.
Awesome. What I realize is that when you go away, and by the way, since we've dated, you've gone on business trips. This is nothing new. Since you go away, I think I'm needy. Which is the weirdest thing because I think I'm almost like a sociopath. I'm very unemotional. Even my closest friends would say, like, I don't think they think I'm a bad friend or a bad person. And I would obviously like go to bat and, I am ride or die for the people that I love that are in my life. And I'm very loyal and close and all of that. But I'm not like the most emotional person in the world. Yet sometimes when you go away, I'm very needy and I need that.
It is quite interesting. And I think of that Journey song that always made me cry as a teenager. I don't know why, but I just remember slow dances to Faithfully. Highway runs, like the I'm forever yours. Faithfully, that song?
I do.
Anyway, so when you need me and get upset that I don't call enough, I have to think about that song in my head and try to explain it to you in so many words. And usually the words don't come out right.
Well, that's true. That's definitely true. But it's just interesting that I am, I guess, a little needy. But there's a science behind it. So I did some research because I'm like, am I crazy?
Before you get there, I do want to throw the contradiction in there, which is when you're away on a business trip or away on like a girls' vacation or something, you don't call or text or write all that much either.
Well, what's funny
and
is
I'm
I did think about that.
relatively okay with that.
No, I know.
So.
And I actually thought about that as I was getting flustered and I was like, wait, where are you? I don't know why, but I did think about that. Can I tell you a little bit of the science behind it?
I would love to hear it.
Okay. So I think, and we've talked about a little bit of this like enabling component, but when people are in long-term relationships, there is this co-regulation that happens. Right? There's this enabling, like you regulate me, I regulate you, you're able to pull me off the ledge, I'm able to like hype you up, whatever it is. There's this I think that's the perfect word, co-regulation. And so when one of the spouses is not there, the co-regulation formula gets thrown out the window. There's also this decision burden that happens, right? Like, hey, honey, what do you want for dinner? And you throw out something and I can say yes, no, I don't know. But there's a mutual decision-making process that happens. And when you're away, and you were away all week, I had to make decisions all by myself for a full week, which I'm totally capable of doing. That's the thing. Like, I I'm very sort of decisive, and I can make obviously hard choices or figure out what I want to eat for dinner. That's not it. But for whatever reason, I don't know. There's that component.
Well, is it a separation anxiety?
Well,
Is
then
what
there's that,
is?
yeah, a little bit. And what's funny is because we see this with Flynn, and yes, now I'm comparing myself to the dog, but there's a little bit of this like protest behavior. So when we go away for a long time and we come home, Flynn has usually like done something to the house. Like maybe he's eaten a pair of my panties, or maybe he's gone on the bed and he's messed up all the pillows, or maybe he's gone outside and he eats his own poo in front of us. Like he does things. So I think a little bit of my like.
Well, he
honey,
also gives us a little bit of the cold shoulder.
He does give us a stink
sometimes.
eye for
he
sure.
He definitely messes up our bed. He tears it apart. He gets really mad.
But we find things like he does things around the house to protest. So
Yes.
maybe me being needy is a little bit of the protest because I'm so not the needy person.
He used to do the protest poo where you least expected it. There it was. It was like his little gift. But you know, it's interesting because I do think, I mean, when I think about, I guess some of the troubled couples that I've known over the years, I mean, of course, we all knew the couple in high school that was just always fighting, you know, like,
yes.
or there were always issues lurking and you're just like, how much longer is this one going to last? And I will say, like, one of the issues I think was some of the, failed marriages or, you know, long relationships was always that insecurity of when somebody's away and the other one's here. Oh, are they frolicking? You know, are they hanging out with other girls or whatever? I do think you know me well enough that that's not really my capability. And then on top of it, when you're away, you just know that, hey, what are you doing while I'm gone? I go, I'm getting a bottle of wine and I'm getting a pizza and I'm hanging out and just watching TV. Like, and then I'm going to go to bed early. And then what are you doing tomorrow during the day? I'm going to surf and then I'm going to nap. And maybe watch lacrosse or college
Those
football.
are your big plans.
Like, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. But I don't know. I was needier.
Yeah. But you know what? I love that because it's flattering to me. It is. Yeah. It means that you love me. And, the college professor that you had a thing for way back when is not.
I don't understand why this keeps coming up.
I don't know.
I did not date my college professor. Did he, in fact, put me on the path to go into the legal profession? Yes. Did he, in fact, put me into sort of the nonprofit public interest world? Yeah, he actually did. He helped me write my essay for law school, and it was about public interest, which is what I did from law school on, okay? But I never dated my college professor. Don't you think at this point I would admit that I dated my college professor?
Maybe, I guess. I mean, I just
like. Don't you think that would just
I
embellish
remember
the
him
story?
ogling you as we had. We have to have lunch with my professor. I'm like, I don't even remember a name of a professor. Like,
Well, I was his TA.
Yeah, you were.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's even like more, I guess, potential of something going on there. Because wasn't that all legal back then? To like just
look, you dated me, and
weren't
I was.
there a lot of movies about that
Hello,
too?
you dated me, and I was an assistant.
Yes, but you weren't my assistant. You
Actually,
were a
though,
colleague's assistant.
but you and my boss worked together. You shared a studio, so it could have been seen as like an improper power thing. I don't know.
You mean like that show that you're watching now, where there are two guys and that girl, and it's like
Oh my
hockey
God.
again. It's like a hockey romance
Off campus,
show.
off campus.
What is it
so
with
good.
hockey and
I don't
like
know.
these romance things?
I don't know, but it's good. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed watching it when you were gone. That definitely kept me occupied.
I will say it's a bit of a bummer for the Quebecois who were rooting hard for the Montreal Canadiens. They did not make it through to the Stanley Cup Finals. That's sort of a sad trombone. But we were rooting hard, and that would have been cool for Dylan and all his friends up there to witness that. But they made I guess what you would call the Final Four.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Like our son made the Final Four in the bag, whatever it's called.
Yeah, except as like Will Ferrell once said, what do you call second place.
Loser.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they came in fourth or third.
Okay. So is that like loser times 4? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I don't think they're
waves
losers.
are really big and they're glowing off of your face.
It's
pretty nice.
definitely summertime in LA. There is an energy, there's a buzz, there's a vibe. It feels good. I'm excited. I'm excited for this summertime.
Okay, so tell me what the next subject is, because I saw a whole list and I was pretty excited that you put a lot of time and effort into it, because sometimes we just riff and it's pretty fun, but it's also nice to...
So the next topic is the art of parenting.
Ooh. Okay.
And I'm going to share a story.
I like to call myself the Picasso of parenting.
Huh. Should I get you a t-shirt?
No, but I just have like a lot of angled features to me where like it's not always smooth.
Wait, speaking of t-shirts, I saw on Instagram with the funniest t-shirt and I kind of wanted to buy it for you. It said, "I'm nice, but my wife isn't."
Well, that's not nice. And by the way, it's ironic you would wear a t-shirt like that. Because
I'm not wearing it.
No, but if I did, like, I'm nice, but I'm calling my wife not that nice.
Well,
that's
maybe
not
you're
that
calling
nice.
ball and strikes like you always do.
That's true. I do like the ball and strikes.
Okay, so the
go
art
on.
of parenting.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you a story, and it's not to call out my son. It's not to embarrass my son, but
geez.
it definitely, it's a question, and I think a lot of empty nesters grapple with it. So, Friday morning, my son was supposed to register for classes. And remember, Chris and Dylan are back east, so this is now 3 hours ahead.
Shout out to the Marriott, the airport Marriott at Philadelphia Airport, where we've stayed many times, and they put us in room 901 all the time.
I thought it was 109.
No, 901.
Oh, that's random.
901.
Okay, so at like 5:23 in the morning, my phone goes off. Now, I have the kids on emergency breakthrough, so that means whether the phone is turned off, silent, whatever it is, the phone rings and it rings through. So I immediately, jump out of bed, the noisemaker goes off, I pick up the phone because I see it's down. I'm like, "Hey, baby, what's up?" And I'm definitely a little sleepy. And he proceeds to tell me that he can't register for classes. Okay, bud, why can't you register for classes? Like, I don't understand. It says I owe money. Okay, what do you mean you owe money? It says that part of my tuition hasn't been paid. Okay, I don't understand. Like, back up. So now I come upstairs and I make myself some coffee and I'm like trying to figure out what's happening here. And Dylan and Chris are navigating the portal, which is different than like Kaylee's portal. And we can talk about that too. But Dylan, I guess, realizes that he got a tuition bill. It was sent to him, only him, because McGill does not send it to parents like Tulane sent it to parents. And he got this email in March because I said to Dylan, okay, like pull up this address, pull up this email address. He got the email in March and he deleted it. So for the last, I don't know, March to April, April to May, May to June, 3 months or so, he could have told us that we needed to pay the last part of the tuition. I don't know. And it was for like his dorm and for some other things. And it was minimal, but he didn't pay it. So he couldn't register.
Well, it wasn't exactly minimal. It was relatively substantial in the scheme of things. It wasn't the biggest check that we had written all year, but it was definitely decent size. But and it also had an interest charge on it, which was sort of nice. We should actually charge him the interest.
Well, here's what's funny, because he then starts arguing about it. Well, this fault. I'm like, dude, you were the one that effed up.
Yeah, just own it, dude.
Just own it.
We're gonna take care of it, and we gotta move on, because this is one of those things where there's a lot of important stuff that's involved with this process. So we'll figure out how to resolve the lapse of adulthood.
That is my question.
Yeah.
When do parents, I don't want to say stop parenting, because you are a parent even when your child is 60 years old. Like, you never stop parenting. But like, when do you step back and let your child suffer the consequences of a mistake they made?
Well, I will say, there is a slight joy. It's a weird silver lining thing. It's almost like you play craps and the roller hits a 7 and you happen to have a cum bet out there, so you get your cum bet back, but everything else goes away. It's that little silver lining. And the silver lining with this stuff is, they still need me. They're not totally
their brains are not fully
adults.
formed.
Like there's so many things that impress you about your kids, but then there's things where you realize they're just they're not quite there yet, and they still need a little coaching and help. And I love that. Like, I mean, it makes you feel good as a parent in a certain way. This one was particularly not. It wasn't. The silver lining was harder to find in it, but when do you feel like you don't have to do parenting? I don't think that ever happens. I hope it doesn't, because once it does, it's sort of like, wait, you're telling me they're never going to need sage advice from somebody who's 30 something plus years older than them, that thinks like them halfway, or a part of them thinks like them. Like, they're going to go, like, I even told Dylan, I said, this adventure he's going on, like, I did the same thing. And I said, there are certain moments where you actually are going to feel a little homesick. Like, here's what I did to resolve that. Like, here are the things where you have some FOMO because you're not at home with your friends, but like, here's all the things that are great. And then the final thing I said is, you're going to talk about this. Like, you, if you stayed at home, you would have a lot of fun, but it doesn't make a story that you tell 40 years from now. What you tell 40 years from now is when you take the adventure, you take the risk, you go do something different. That is what you want in your life. You want as many of those as possible.
Absolutely. And there's still some helicopter parenting that's going on to some extent. Like, I know his location, right? I do. But I'm not checking up on him 24/7. And even like with,
I think that's a little weird, but
like with that, I know his location, or that
yeah. Well, I just don't, like, I can't even imagine like if that was around when I was growing up. I mean, it's amazing that any of us are still alive, actually, when you think about all the things you worry about. But yeah. Okay.
But I mean, there's parents, and obviously I do not do this. I'm putting this on the record. I do not check my kids' grades. I wouldn't even know how to do it. And in high school, to be honest with you, I didn't really either. In middle school, like most middle schools and high schools have these platforms where parents can log in and see how their kids are doing. Middle school, I did, sure. But in high school, I definitely did not. It was so hands off.
Yeah, well, and that brings, okay, so there's the helicopter parenting thing that you brought up, and then there's also, you asked me a question earlier at dinner, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting question, and you said, wait, let's talk about it on the podcast. But what was that question?
The question is, did you ever make a mistake and think you had it all figured out, but you didn't, and your parents couldn't come in and save you or help you or fix it?
Yeah, it wasn't even, like, I would say it wasn't even a mistake. It was more like, did you get into a jam that even they couldn't help out with? And, I would go, I mean, the worst case scenario would be if anybody ever saw that TV series Adolescence, which was like just heartbreaking, but just absolutely amazing and wonderfully done. But it was essentially about a kid who was bullied, and that bullying over time made him actually sort of an accidental killer. And the police caught him, and they had to tell his parents, and the parents were like, oh my God, all I want to do is like cry because I can't do anything to help him. And then on top of it, they're wondering how he ever turned into that. But anyway, if you haven't seen that series, it's worth seeing. But I think there's two facets to that question. One is, was there a jam you got into that they could absolutely not help with? And then the other is, was there a jam that you got into that you absolutely do not want them to even know about, and they still couldn't help you if you did tell them, so you keep it quiet? So number one is, my answer would be the one that they knew about because they saw it, was I got my first D in college in thermodynamics at Cornell. And a D is like, it's like a terrible grade, no matter what caliber student you are. But like, that's I'd never had a D before in anything. So that was, I was off in Florida doing construction down there, and they almost pulled me back back home, because they were like, that's terrible. The other one I'll bring up, which I didn't tell them about, and I don't know if they know about it now or not, but I think I'm safe to bring it up now. I was in Nags Head, North Carolina, with the Blackmore family, who took me down there for a week every summer. And I got really, really drunk, and I fell face first. Like, I was passed out face first in a ditch on the side of the road, like literally what your parents say you should never do, or they'll never want to
Thank
find
goodness
you
you're
face
okay.
down in a ditch.
I
on
mean,
the
that
side
is
of the road.
literally every mom's
Yeah.
worst. Like I mean, I don't know you editorially, but I go dark and I immediately think my kids are face down in a ditch.
I was hanging with kids that were way older than me, and that is what happens when you're a retard, or I'm sorry, whatever the right word is.
Chris, you
And-
can't say
Okay,
that.
I'm sorry, but face down in a ditch. The only thing I remember is a flashlight in my face, a guy like pulling me like right side up. And I just remember sand spurs were in my face because it was like in the sand dunes off of the ocean.
I'm picturing Flynn with when he goes into a bush and he comes out and there's like crap in his fur.
Yeah. And then I remember being in the back of a cop car, and then I remember getting this.
So were you actually handcuffed?
No, I wasn't handcuffed, but I was
Okay.
put in the back of a cop car.
And then you went to like the booze bin?
Yeah, I don't even remember the whole thing, but I remember somehow paying some of my, like, whatever it was
Like a
worth,
bail
and they
bond?
let me out because Kim Blackmore, the older sister, who had a lot of friends down there that were guy friends that I think she wasn't able to keep an eye on what they were doing with me. But I got, somehow she helped me get out. I got out, and then I remember I was left with something else I still owed them. And it was the next day we were heading through all the states back to Connecticut. Thank God Kim Blackmore was driving a car separate from her parents because we had to stop every 50 miles so I could throw up. And then I remember for the next like month, I had to race home to make sure I saw the mail first before my parents, because some ticket payment thing was coming from the Nags Head Police Department, and I got it, and then I had to go to like
Did you have to go to court?
no, what is it, Western Union, to go like wire money.
Do they even do that?
Yeah, well,
Is that
back
still
then
open?
I had
is
to
that
do
still
it.
open?
Like I had to find a Western Union. It was like in South Hartford or something. I remember it was like $100, which might as well have been like $100,000 back then. And I remember that Western Union, it cost like $40 to Western Union, $100, and then boom, there you go. That's my story. So two things. One is the one that they can't. I mean, in today's world, parents will go and try to change the grade and pressure the professor or whatever.
Or the principal or whatever. Yeah.
The last thing my parents ever thought about with me getting a D is it was all my fault and you're an idiot. And why'd you get a D? And of course, that's what I thought too. Like it's all my fault. I was an idiot. I got a D.
Okay, so
but in
you
today's
are
world,
hold
the first thing is
pause,
the
pause,
parents
pause.
are probably like, fix it.
Pause. You are acknowledging that you were an idiot and got the D.
Yes.
So it wasn't somebody else's fault. It wasn't. You are acknowledging that it was you.
Yes, 100%. Because that's the way it was back then too. Like this idea of changing a grade or whatever these parents do is insane. So those are would be my two examples.
Those are good ones.
Yeah. And do you have a good one to give?
Well, I've never
Are
been
you
arrested.
allowed to? Because your dad listens to this show.
He does. I've never been arrested. I will tell you that much.
Wow.
I don't know.
Shout out.
I don't know. I don't know if it's an applause, but I mean, I went to an Ivy League school. I went to grad school. I didn't get arrested. I feel like I've lived a hearty life. Yeah.
Okay, so wait, are you going to just brag about your life,
No,
or are you going to talk
so one
about
thing,
something that happened?
It would definitely be, I feel like it was a grade situation. So I was in law school. It was my first year, and I absolutely bombed my contracts exam to the point where I failed contracts and had to take contracts again as a second year, which is totally mortifying because, the year-long contracts class, that is absolutely like the babies in law school. That is the first class they take. And I was so embarrassed, and there was nothing that my parents could do. I felt like crap about it. I felt so bad about myself. It was definitely not a reflection of my ability. It's definitely not a reflection of my intelligence, but I had a full-blown like panic attack. I do get anxiety on exams, and there's nothing they could do. And so I had to power through my second year with an extra class. So it was a heavier load because I wanted to graduate in 3 years.
And your mom, the great Jan Shio, would be somebody who would Tiger Mom plow herself through something to help her daughters at any time. But
I'm
she
going to share
also
what happened in
put
high
a
school.
huge block. There was always a big obstacle between what she knew she could go help with and was willing to help with. And then the other things where it's like, I'm sorry, my daughter needs to go through this themselves. I'm not getting in the middle of this.
So what's interesting, and I think I shared this, is in high school, my mom hated grade surprises. So there was never the option of like opening the report card and seeing you got a C or something. That was not it. So I had to write down every grade in every class that I earned, whether it was a paper, a final exam, a pop quiz, a lab, whatever it was. She kept track of every single one of my grades.
And then if you had something bad, like her instinct, which was the right instinct, was not, oh, the teacher's being hard on you, we got to talk to them. It was like,
she would say
Jennifer,
to me, like,
Diane Shio, get your stuff,
Yeah, like get your stuff together. I mean, and she was hard on me, and that's probably part of my perfectionism, because if I got an A-, like, why'd you get a 91? You could have gotten a 95 if you had just done blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, there's that component too, but I think it made me an overachiever to some extent. But no, they couldn't help me with the law school at all.
And then was there anything that you didn't tell them about? Are you allowed to like bring that up with your dad listening or no?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've actually been kind of open about all the stuff I did as a teenager and some of the things.
No, but I mean, in terms of what they could or couldn't help with, right? Like
they couldn't help me pass the bar.
Yeah. Well, that's all on you and the crazy bar exam of California. And as much as they probably wanted to help, they know they couldn't. So look, things work out. By the way, I mean, I took the bar 5 weeks before we got married, and then I took the bar as we were trying to get pregnant. So they're both very, very different times and heavy times in a person's life. Well, I will also say that, I'm proud of you for being very open about that. I mean, I know you are with everybody, but I mean, this is 72 countries. Who knows? Maybe in Sweden, you didn't want anybody, Malmo, you didn't want anybody knowing that you didn't pass the bar in California.
I am a lawyer. I have my JD.
You are.
And everything I learned has, I think, brought me to where I am today.
I love that.
It's all about lessons. It's all about lessons. And I think our kids, the point now, wrapping this up.
Lessons and life experiences, which is we just talked about too.
And that's exactly it. And our kids have to experience it. So sometimes, as hard as it is for me as a tiger mom, for me as somebody who wants to control everything, as hard as it is, sometimes you just got to let the kids figure it out. And Dylan had to figure it out.
I love the fact that, number one, you did a lot of research and stuff that we were going to talk about today, and we already hit the 36-minute mark.
Done.
So we have more fodder for the next episode, which is going to be super exciting. We just want to thank everybody for listening, because it turns out a lot more people are listening than we thought or ever imagined, and we really appreciate it. We would like Mr. 73rd or Mrs. 73rd Country to please reach out and listen, download, follow, engage, enjoy. And everybody else in those other 72 countries, thank you so very much for listening to Plate and Ponder, Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.